Welcome to part 3 of protecting your vegetables, filmed over various days of February. Hi, it's a wet, cold and windy day. Has been for the past 2 days. There's not a lot you can do at the allotment in this kind of weather. So it's some more shed days. So in a minute I'll see you in the shed. Okay? The first job is to sort out the timber to make the A-frames. A rule in carpentry is always to cut the miters first. The most accurate and quickest way of doing this is using the overhead saw. The angle of the saw is then readjusted to cut a 90-degree cross cut. The vernier gauges on this particular model of saw are very accurate. The stop is set on top of the bench 816mm from the face of the saw blade. We were taught at building college that engineers work to the nearest thou, while builders and carpenters just get it right. We now cut 8 pieces exactly the same length. The next job is to mark out the bird's mouth. We place a short end of the same material onto the end of this miter mark and mark. And there we have the bird's mouth, which is then cut by hand, which is the best way of cutting these bird's mouths. Setting up a machine to cut this bird's mouth would take longer than actually cutting it by hand. We clamp half of the members together to mark where I put and insert the dowels. We'll do this on the pillar drill. I think I've mentioned before that most mistakes in carpentry are caused by mistakes in measuring. So the best thing is don't measure. Using a short piece of dowel that we're going to use, we insert it into the drill bit box and use the drill bit that matched that hole. Using the pillar drill is a lot quicker and it gives a more accurate hole, and so why not use it. Tap the dowel into the hole, no glue, and cut off square and flush. We set another stop block to mark out the legs. And with this machine we can put 4 lengths of timber all in and cut them all in one go. We repeat the process and we now have 8 legs, all exactly the same length. All the 8 legs will require a dowel right through, about 3/4 of an inch down from the top. So we straighten them all up. It's not necessary, but it's nice to have them all the same distance apart, all identical. In my younger days I would get my ears boxed for doing this with the cry of "we cut the timber with a saw, not a pencil." Back to the pillar drill, the same bit in, and drill the ends. And insert the timber dowels. And again, no glue, which are duly cut off flush. We now have the 8 legs all ready to be screwed to the A-frames. We now mark out the apex members for where we put the screw holes. Screw a temporary block onto the pillar drill stand base so that we can fit the notch of the A-frame member onto it and drill vertically into it. We have of course changed the bit to a bit and countersink combined. Because we are drilling in at an angle, the countersink bit doesn't reach into the timber, so I use the ordinary countersink bit just to give it that extra depth. The apex piece with the dowel in is clamped to the saw fence right to the edge of the board, and then I can then screw the undoweled member into it. And there we have 4 completed frames. You'll notice that on some of them I've put an extra screw at the top to give it some extra strength. Then mark out some scrap timber to form the brace, which we pre-drill just like the other members for screwing into the A-frame. Reclamp an A-frame back onto the fence of the table saw. Pull the unclamped leg, testing with the square, and then with another clamp fix that into position. And when happy that it's true and square, screw the cross brace into position, securing the A-frame square. And then as a final test, just put the square on the corner, on the external corner, and yes, it's nice and square. As a final check, the rod that we made earlier we put on the frame just to check that the width matches, and it does. We now have 4 completed frames. This is a frequent journey from the conservatory to the shed, and then the shed back again, in between rain showers and storms, in between which I've been down at the allotment. I've reached a stage where I can call this video to a close, and in part 4 continue with shaping the legs, and I've got some ideas for the end frames. Thank you for watching. Hope you found it interesting. If you've not already done so, please subscribe, but most importantly, comment. Bye.